Hello and welcome back to Leicester Fan TV. It's episode 5 or 6 of the Championship Chat. As always, we wish it was Premier League chat, but oh well, what can we do about that? It's the Championship Chat. Today I'm joined by Tom, who is a Hull fan, so not the best of timing after the weekend's game. Tom, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing great, especially after the weekend's result. If I'm being honest, I didn't expect that to happen. Like all us all fans probably going there expecting to lose. To be honest, like the quality in Leicester's team, but we came away with a fantastic result and performance. So, yeah.
Yeah, love it, mate. I mean, the link to your socials will be in the description as well below. I'll put it in after this finishes. We're going to talk a little bit, obviously, about the game. But before we do, I will just get the intro on screen because I always forget. Lovely stuff. Before we get started, obviously, Tom, you won't know this, but every week we do a score predictions for the fixtures. Obviously, we can't do it today because there are no fixtures this weekend. But I always bring the scores up because we keep track of them. So these are the scores on the doors at the minute. I'm not looking too good in third place, but it's quite tight at the top. So Chris, he'll be back next week. He's at the top of the leaderboard with 21 points. He predicted a Huddersfield win, which was crazy. Huddersfield win.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
Was it against West Brom? West Brom on Saturday.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think anyone predicted a Hull win. I definitely didn't. Otherwise, I'd have been higher up in the table. Yeah. And then Brad is suffering. He's a Huddersfield fan. I don't know if you've probably met Brad before, Tom. Brad Barbs. He is on 12 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. I just assume everyone in the Championship knows each other because so many people in the Premier League or like content creators know each other. So, right, let's get started. So, before we go into the game on Saturday, obviously I've never spoken to you before on the channel, Tom. What were your expectations going into the Championship season this year?
I think most Hull fans like myself were expecting sort of mid-table to progress from last season. So I had a good window. But obviously before our bit of business in the window, we expected sort of like 10th or 11th place, and would have taken that. I'm not getting too carried away with the start, but I think I'd still take that now. I think perhaps 10th, 11th, pushing the playoffs, I still take, because I know it's a long season, and I know we'll run into a tough spell. It's just how we ride that out. It always happens in Championship. Every team will go through that rough patch. But I'm hoping that we can push towards playoffs, and that would be a good season.
Yeah, I mean, you've only lost one league game, right, this season against Norwich, who look really good.
First game, yeah, exactly. We went there, and after we thought, it's a disappointing performance, but I think on the basis of it now, 2-1 loss there, after go 1-0 up, it's not a bad result.
I mean, 6th place, you'll take it, right? You'll take it right now at this stage.
Take that any day.
Now I've seen obviously I follow you on Twitter. I've seen it, or X. I've seen a few of your tweets. Obviously following the Leicester game. Help us out here, Tom, because there's a divide in the Leicester fan base at the minute. A lot of fans went into panic mode straight away after that loss. I think obviously there's been some doubters all season, in the first 5 games because we haven't been playing amazing, but we've been picking up wins. Obviously, 4 wins until we played Hull. What did you think? Honest opinion. I mean, because I think a lot of fans think there's some delusional fans that think we deserve to win. I don't think we deserve to beat you at all. I think you did a job. You did a job over us. Yeah. But do you think people are panicking a little bit? Leicester fans maybe going into a meltdown over the loss.
Well, I've watched a few of your games this season, and I see that it's a case of you're creating a lot of chances, not putting them away. You're dominating most games, and you're struggling to put the ball back in the net. And with the quality you've got, I understand why fans are a bit annoyed. Like, you've won, I think, 4-hour game. You'd won every game by one goal, especially against the likes of Rotherham. You expect a bit better, I think, with the quality we've got in the squad. And I think most people would expect Leicester to be running away with it, but that's not the case in the Championship. You can never predict it. But I think you're always going to get results like that, from your point of view, it's like how you bounce back from it. Like I know obviously last season you had a loser mentality, so you're coming down. You've started off well, 4 wins. Now it's about how you bounce back from a loss, and I think international break might have come at a good time for you, like to just reassess again and then go again. But yeah, from that point of view, I think there's no need to worry at it with the quality you've got, and just showed like with the bringing on like the likes like Mavidity and players like that, like it shows that you've got strength in depth. Like as soon as he came on, I felt like I thought he was actually going to come back and perhaps even get a win. Like he seems to change the game a bit, but yeah, I'm glad that we held out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you noticed as well that we've got a new winger who came on as well, Fatawu, who came on the right hand side, who looked really good.
Yeah, he looked really. He picked the person, so I thought.
Yes, yeah, hell of a left foot. I mean, I did see another one of your tweets actually saying that it's one of the best performances you've seen from Hull in a long time. Is that the case?
Yeah,
was that just a bit of hype after the game? It is true.
I genuinely think that now, like in terms of how because we've not played like that in ages. In terms of the whole setup was right, and the way we defended, like Alfie Jones was a rock at the back, like he has been for the past year. And I think we just executed our game plan well. And like Rossini before the season said that we're going to go to teams like Leicester. We're going to actually play. We're not just going to sit back, and that's exactly what we did. We didn't start sitting back to the last 20 where we had a lead to preserve. We came on here and weren't scared to press, and that's why I don't think Leicester fans should be too disheartened with the result, because I think that we have got genuine quality in our team. People look at all and think, they're not very good, but the signings made like Liam Delap, like people judge him from his loan spells at Preston and Stir, but Lee Massini's got him playing in the system like he's a miniature version of Erling Haaland, like just in terms of how he bullies defenders. He's pacey, he's strong, quick, like. And I felt like Rossini put him on the right was a great tactical decision, because he bullied that Callum Doyle all game long. And when you've got a player that can cut in on his right and his left, and that's how he scored on his weaker left. And the fact is that's tall and quick, strong. He's so hard to stop, and I think he's definitely one to watch this season from championship point of view. I think he could be up there, and maybe not top scorers, but I think he has a chance to make a name for himself as he already is doing. But from our point of view, it was one of the best performances we've seen, because we executed everything well, and we beat obviously arguably one of, if not the best team in the division.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's promising to hear that it was one of the best performances that you've put in a while. But then on the other hand, it's kind of think, well, I think a lot of teams are going to come and probably put in the best performance, because they're going to want to win, right? Like it's same with Southampton, Leeds. Obviously, the relegated teams spent big money as well, really, this summer. So I suppose a lot of teams are going to want to come and just put in an absolute shift and nick a point or a win. What did you think to the goal? I mean, I haven't seen it back too much. It was a deflection, wasn't it? It did take a bit of a deflection.
I've looked at it a few times and it didn't look like it did. But I see it. But I'm seeing I saw after the game, Leicester fans complaining, saying, "Oh, it's a lucky goal deflection." Shouldn't essentially trying to act like it shouldn't have stood. Like the fact they're trying to say that because it's a deflected goal, it doesn't count as a goal. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I saw. Quite a few Leicester fans saying that in the comments.
This is what I'm saying.
Stuff like that.
There's two different types of Leicester. There's
There's
either the ones that will say, well, you didn't, it was deflections, so it doesn't count, or you'll get the others that think it's the end of the world and we're getting relegated to League One. So there's no in between, really.
I think as well, I put a tweet out about Michael Serra being better than Harry Winks.
Right. I think I've actually seen that. You got a lot of bites.
So
I bet. A lot of people.
No, it didn't actually. It didn't. It got a lot of likes from Hull fans, but that's surprisingly. But I think that in terms of that performance from Serra, he was levels ahead in terms of they're both similar players in terms of what they want to do. Like the ball playing midfielders, so they get on the ball, spray it around. But I think Serra had the better game on that day, and I think he's had a great start to the season. He's getting on a bit now, but he's still got that quality. Obviously, he's been promoted before with Fulham. And the same with Cyrus Christie, who came on as well. One to watch as well, there's Ruben Vinagre. He was making his second start for us on loan from Sporting. That's the sort of ambition we're showing now. In his contract, there's a 12.8 million option to buy at the end of his loan spell. So I think we'd have to get promoted to activate that. But I think that's the only time we saw him before that was in the cup against Donny and Norwich, and there were two disappointing performances. So we didn't see him at his best. But yes, well, on Saturday he was unreal. Like, yeah, but just obviously showed why we signed him. Like, pacey, great on the ball, like great maneuvering out of tight spots, up and down, like hard to beat 1v1 as well. Felt like he, the Leicester winger struggled against him. Really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The final question for you about about the game, was there anyone that stood out to you as a weak? I mean, I know you said that Doyle obviously got bullied, but who stood out for you as kind of a weak area really in the Leicester team?
I don't think Ian Archer particularly painted himself in good lights. I know he's a good player, but I felt like our defence marshalled him well. Like, I was worrying, to be honest, first 5-10 minutes. Our centre back and right back both got carded, Coyle and Jones, and I felt, here we go, long afternoon. I don't think we exploited that enough. But although I felt our defence were quite streetwise, like after that, one diving into tackles, and although it was winning the ball high, we was doing it like legally. So it was able to press onto. And the reason why I say it was like one of our best performances in ages, because we wouldn't have done that last season. Like before Rossini came in, wouldn't have pressed, would have sat back and tried to put on the counter. And then, eventually when you're against a quality team like Leicester, they've got players that can hit you, you're asking to concede. So I felt like in terms of that, like, I was impressed with how we conducted ourselves, and I just hope we can take it on into upcoming games.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean about obviously Coyle. It was frustrating for us because it was Casey McAteer, who's a youth from our youth academy. Obviously, it's his first kind of breakthrough season really for us this year, and he's
I saw
been really good.
He's got a brace in it. He's got a brace in it.
Like Rotherham, yeah. So when he got Coyle booked, it was kind of frustrating that he didn't keep going at him, and because I think there was definitely a red card hiding away somewhere there if he carried on, but didn't quite happen like that. Moving on, I want to obviously just talk about really the Championship in general. There's been a couple of surprises so far. Obviously, at the top of the table, we've got Preston. Ipswich as well, if you can call that a surprise. Obviously, I know there were a lot of people before the season started that were tipping Ipswich to do really well. And then if you look for Leeds, not the best of starts in this season. What's been the biggest shock for you? Well, all right, we'll get on to Leeds in a minute then. But what's been the biggest shock so far for you this season in general?
I think it has to be Middlesbrough, like the bottom of the table. Yeah. One draw out of first five, like. I think they were most people's. I'm not, obviously after what they did last season, I'm not writing them off just yet.
Yeah,
I think they came from 20 games in, they were bottom, and then they ended up finishing in the playoffs. It was in the playoffs on it last season.
Yes.
So, like, I'm not writing them off just yet, but obviously alarm bells were ringing with Carrick. The job he did up until this season was nothing short of remarkable, and then obviously they started the season badly, and I think the really facing struggles without obviously Chubrak-Pom, not replaced him well, not replaced.
Who was
Cameron
it they brought
Archer.
in as the
Cameron Archer on loan?
Right, okay.
Yeah, last season he scored like 10 goals from January onwards, I think, Archer. So they've really struggled without them two, and it's so surprising when you don't replace strikers like that. You're going to suffer, and that's exactly what's happened. Like they're struggling to score. So I think that's the biggest surprise for me. I thought they might start a bit sluggishly after losing the playoffs, but I didn't think they'd be rooted to the bottom.
I mean, a 2-0 loss to QPR isn't what you want, really, is it?
It's not.
No, not at all. You mentioned Leeds, then you said Leeds wasn't a shock for you. I get what you're saying. I mean, do you expect them to get better, right, as the season goes on? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think notoriously under Daniel Farker, like his teams usually start off poor when they're just into the system, but I think once they do, I do think they'll be in and around the playoffs. I don't think they'll be chasing automatics, if I'm being honest, but I think that once they've got the quality now, haven't they? The players they've brought in. Joe Perreault, that's a great sign. I think he fits perfectly into Daniel Fark's system because he can play in that number 10 and striker, as he already has done. And I think he scored already as well. But so it doesn't need any time to adjust. I think that's the key thing. A lot of their players don't need a lot of time to adjust to the Championship because they've been there before.
Yes,
I know they're a couple of years older, like Luke Ayling and stuff like that, but they've still got the the experience of getting out of the division. So I think that'll hold them well in good stead for the rest of the season. But in terms of how they started, I'm not really too surprised. Like, I felt like when you come down from the Premier League, that losing mentality, and you've got a new manager, and you're going to struggle. And I felt like one of the teams where was going to start quite poorly, and if it was going to be one of the teams, it'd be Leeds to come down here.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you had that. I mean, it was an unsettled transfer window. Obviously, you had the whole saga with their contracts, the clauses meaning that they could go out on loan. I think they only brought in transfer fees for Tyler Adams. I want to say that's it. I can't think of any. Yeah, that was it, because obviously
I can't think of else.
Well, Sinistera's a loan option to buy.
Yeah.
So
he's gone to Bournemouth. He's gone to Bournemouth as well, right?
Yes, on deadline day, and they got Jaden Anthony.
That's not a bad. That's not a bad deal, to be honest. Is he on loan as well, or is he permanent?
Yeah. So it's like a loan swap, but Stinney goes permanently. Well, if they activate, obviously he'll go permanently next summer. And then obviously, you had Jack Harrison's and things like that, and the little drama with Nonto, obviously, requesting a move away.
I think that's the reason why. The reason why I thought that's that bad is the unrest in the squad.
Yeah,
I think Leicester and Southampton, they've got rid of for the most part, they got rid of the players that wanted to leave, and they knew there was players like Madison, Harvey Barnes, like they knew they wanted to leave and play Premier League football. Whereas Leeds, they've had a bit more of a struggle because these players that want to leave are quite egotistical. They think they're better than they are. Like, if you know what I mean, like Willie Nonto played well last season, but he's thinking, look, straight away, I'm destined for the Premier League, and the same with Sinistera as well. Like, honestly, great player. Like, and probably his Premier League level, but they didn't perform as well as the likes of Madison and Barnes over the past few seasons. So that's obviously why teams are probably reluctant to come in and pay the money. But
I find it mad though how he wanted to go Everton, like trying to force a move to Everton. I mean, what?
We were destined to come back down. Yeah, we were destined to come back down.
I kind of get the Bournemouth thing because they've invested well this summer, I think, and they've got a chance of staying up, and they probably will stay up. But Everton, that's surely their favourites to go down, along with Luton.
Yeah.
Okay, and then obviously Southampton, not too good of a start, to be honest with you. Obviously they started against Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, same record as Hull City. To spend all that money doesn't necessarily return to 3 points.
Yeah, and that was a barnstormer of a game as well against Norwich. That 4-4, crazy.
Yeah. I think they scored in 97 minutes to rescue a point, didn't they? Like, so.
Yes, I think they did. Yeah, they did. They started really well. I don't know if you watched it. Obviously, it was on the Friday Night Football against Sheffield Wednesday, and it was.
I watched that.
They looked a cut above, but it's not been so...
that's what I felt like. I said that as well. Like, I don't know if you watched the Burnley game last year against Huddersfield. Like,
yes,
you thought straight away like you need to lump on them to go up. Obviously, I didn't, but you thought, they're looking like the real deal, and that's what I thought with Southampton. But I'm not saying like they've not translated in next games. They've done all right, but then they go lose 5-0 to Sunderland. So
yeah. Well, let's just talk about that quickly. I mean, 5-0. I don't think anyone would expect that. It's crazy.
16-year-old scoring against them as well.
Yeah, when you see it go 5, you're thinking, is this another 9-0? That'll be 3 9-0s for Southampton in about 3 years. So yeah, that was probably shock of the season. Would you say shock result or shock scoreline of the season?
Right, I'd have to say definitely. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head, but probably that one.
Just let me know. Obviously, Russell Martin. Obviously, he was Swansea manager as well. When Brendan Rodgers got sacked from Leicester, he was linked quite heavily with Leicester. Same in the summer as well before he went to Southampton. A lot of people were like saying, "Oh, he's the second coming of Brendan Rodgers," and try and. I'm
going to put it out there. I don't really rate him, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm going to put it out there. I don't rate him at all. He did all right job at Swansea, but he's not proven anything yet. Like, he's not achieved anything in his career. Like, I know you can say the same about Rossini, but look at he's now gone to, obviously Marty's now gone to Southampton, and he's got all this money. He's got this inflated squad, but it's the same old story again. The teams it's all right passing it around and having this sort of style that looks easy on the eye, but if there's no substance to it, scoring goals and seeing off teams, and there's no point to it, is there? And that's where Martin teams always struggled, and despite the quality in Southampton's squad, you're still seeing the same issues arise. And as a manager, I think you've got to adapt, and I don't think Martin does enough. So be interested to see how they get on the rest of the season. They will probably be around in around the automatics, but I'm not expecting them to win the league.
No, I mean, we're going to get on to. I want to hear who you think will win the league in a second, but just quickly, last thing on Russell Martin. I don't know if you saw it last week or the week before. The little dig he had at Swansea when he was like, "Oh, we actually signed players at Southampton," and I'm like, "Come on, mate! Like, it's a completely different."
You can't have a dig like that. No.
It's a completely different kettle of fish. You know, you're managing Premier League last season, Southampton, who have just brought in like 150 million £150 in player sales.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to spend money. All right, then. Well, you mentioned there you don't think Southampton win the league.
Yeah, I'm always torn there because I've got all my season-long accumulator. So maybe I'm being blinded by the 5-0 result. But I put both Leicester and Southampton on my accumulator at the start of the season. I always have an accumulator or two on teams I think I'm going to go up. So I put them two and couldn't see anything past Leicester and Southampton. And given how both teams have started, obviously right up there already, I do expect both teams to probably be up there again. But it's hard to say at this stage of the season because when you've got Preston top, you're thinking, it's typical Championship. But yeah, I do think Preston probably drop off. But yeah.
So, I mean, Leicester and Southampton were definitely the favourites, obviously, at the start of the season. I think Leeds were just behind. I keep hearing, just going back to Leicester a second, I keep hearing people say that the way Leicester are playing isn't sustainable. Surely we only get better. Like, surely just over time, playing in a new system under a new manager with new players.
You've always got to give it 10 games at least to embed a system in. It's not the rule like a number of 10 games, but I think that's about the right time for players to start adjusting. I don't think it's not panic stations yet for Leicester. I think you've won 4 at your first 5 and you've not been at your best. So imagine what you're going to be like when you are at your best, and you imagine that would come, especially with the players in the squad. Like obviously Dewsbury all started the season well, weren't particularly great against us on Saturday, but I think that's where you probably lacked, if I'm being honest, like a proper number 10. I know.
Yes.
Obviously, James Maddison went, and he wasn't really. It's hard to replace James Maddison, how good he is, but you haven't really brought in like a number 10. I don't think this window. Like, I think Cassidy is close to one, but he's not. You wouldn't call him a number 10. But and obviously Dewsbury all sort of steps up a little bit at the start, goals and assists, but he's not a number 10 really, I'd say. So you probably that's where you could have hurt us on Saturday with a number 10 because we was playing 4-4-2. Get a number 10 in between the lines and, in between the midfield and defence, and you'd have caused the issues. But yeah, that's where you probably come up short, to be honest.
Mate, you have no idea. We were calling all transfer window for Leicester to go out and sign Illich Chair. All window.
Literally, yeah. He would have been because, you've got this quality and you ain't got I know you've got Harry Winks deep in the deep line, but you've not got that. You've not got that pace. Playing a number 10 to feed the quality players you've got. So I understand that you'd want someone like that. Let me just put my light on one sec. It's getting real dark.
Yeah, someone said, "Do they not have electricity in Hull?"
You.
I agree with you. I mean, the term that's been used for Ndidi and Dewsbury Hall, or Cassidy and Dewsbury Hall, whoever's been playing, is an advanced 8, is what they've been calling it. So, number 8 arriving into the box and trying to, get a shot on goal or whatever. Obviously, we saw Dewsbury Hall in the first game against Coventry, scored 2 great goals and he won us the game, which is going to happen, right? Because obviously we've got players that are still Premier League quality players.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him stay. I felt like a Premier League club could have come in and perhaps tried to get him, but it was great that you managed to keep him from your point of view. But
I think it's just because obviously he's a Leicester fan. I know it doesn't mean much anymore in today's football world. It doesn't matter at all. But I just feel like he is getting a lot of stick at the minute though, Dewsbury, because he's not been playing well over the last few games, and I think he's starting to think he's a bit of a big dog, you know, obviously in the changing room and stuff,
Yeah.
which technically he is, because obviously there's so many new faces. I want to quickly talk about Coventry. I mean, they've dropped off a little bit, haven't they? But they did start well, and I mean, I had them in my playoffs. Where did you have them? Where were you expecting them to finish?
in around playoffs, to be honest. About 7th, I think 6th. I felt like they invested well with the Harmer money and Jokeres. I think they have missed Harmer a lot more than Jokeres so far. Because he's a brilliant player, but I felt like with the Ellis Sims signing, how he did at Sunderland, I felt like he could have perhaps pushed on. I know it's only the start. Got to give him time to bed, but yeah, I do think that Coventry will still be in and around it. It's just early days yet.
Yeah, I mean, they lost to Leicester, but they put in a shift. To be fair, they
played well. That's what. Yeah, they played well.
And then 3-0 against Middlesbrough, which, to be fair, from the looks of things now, isn't really that special. To be honest with you,
yeah, I
know,
but
then three draws in a row, which hurts the points tally a little bit. But yeah, they could still be up there. Finally, I want to just go on to Ipswich, mate. Obviously, I mentioned them a little bit earlier. A lot of people had tipped them to be top half of the table.
Even like Sky Bet and stuff like that. I had them like about 4th on the betting odds. So.
And there's a lot of hype over Kieran McKenna. I mean, what are your thoughts on him? What are your thoughts on Ipswich in general?
Yeah, I think in terms of last season, they were just like some of the best numbers you've seen in League One. In terms of XG, expected goals conceded, and goals scored, and all the numbers, attacking and defensive. So I think that's what people are basing the assumption off, that Ipswich are going to sort of come into the Championship, do a similar sort of job to Sunderland, and sort of take it by storm. And so far, they've done well. They've had a good start. They're riding sort of the quest of promotion, and I think, if I'm being honest, I look at the squad and I don't think that it's a championship playoff chasing squad. But I think McKenna's sort of working wonders there with what he has, and I think that Sam Morsey started really well. He's been nominated for the Player of the Month with Ozan Tufan from Hull, so shows that they've had a good start. So I think with Ipswich, it's a tough one to say because they could drop off as the season goes on, but. McKenna's obviously a great manager, so perhaps they can even sort of be in and around the playoffs.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, fair enough. Before we finish, I want to just ask a couple. I'm putting you on the spot with this. We did our season predictions on this channel, obviously before the season started, but just a couple of questions. I'm not going to ask you for your top 6 and all that. I just want to know who do you think? I know it's only 5 games in, but who is your banker for relegation this season?
Banking for relegation. I know they've just come away with a victory, but I fear for Huddersfield. I know I think people think Warnock and think survival specialist, but if you look at his previous jobs, he usually comes into a team halfway through a season and then sort of keeps them up. But when he's got like an aim to achieve it, he'll get it. But when in terms of like when he's got the full season and he knows that like they're going to be down there, you probably lose a bit of motivation, and that sort of takes its toll on the squad, and the squad's not good enough at all, I don't think. I think Sheffield Wednesday as well. I think them two are in big trouble. I can't forget Sheffield Wednesday. They've had an horrendous start. I know they've got a good point against Leeds, but lost 4 of the first 5 as well. So that's obviously a good point, but I just don't see any way out for both of them teams.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. It's hard. I'm gonna go.
What was your original one? What was your original prediction then?
I'll tell you now.
Like everyone else.
Yeah, I'll tell you now who I've got. I've got Hull. No, I'm joking. I don't. I have got. Let's have a look because it is on here somewhere. Here we go. Relegation. I had Sheffield Wednesday, Rotherham, and Plymouth. Plymouth, yeah.
I felt I put them about 18th, I think, in my predictions, because I felt like they actually invested well this summer. Some of the good signings. It's a tough place to go, home park, for obviously visitors, and I do think they'll stay up. But can see why.
Well, don't get me wrong, I'm wrong. So I'm not. Yeah, it's not looking like a good prediction at the
I
minute.
think they started off well, but they've tailed off a bit past few games. I think they've had 1 win, 1 draw, 3 losses, or something like that. So, it's
I mean, out of curiosity, who did you have for your top goal scorer? Did you? I
didn't do a prediction, mate. To be honest, no. But who did you have?
Well, I said Shea Adams. I think it's a fair, safe shout.
Yeah, it's fair one. Yeah, I think I might have put him on my pre-season bet, but I didn't do a prediction. But if I had to go for one now, then I think Pirro could be up there.
Yeah,
Fleeting start scoring. Pirro, and then maybe Dark Horse the Lap. No, what? Yeah, maybe. I think second tier actually predicted him. I know it doesn't mean anything, but they said that they're the Dark Horse for top scorer, the Lap. So
that's who the second tier had.
Yeah, but as the Dark Horse, I think I don't know who the predict is for the main top scorer, but I think one of them predicted Ellis Sims. Ellis Sims, one of them, I think they said, yeah.
That was probably Ryan Dilks. That was probably Ryan Dilks.
I'm not too keen on that guy, to be honest. But...
Oh, mate, you know what? He started well with Leicester fans because he started off saying, "Yeah, Leicester are winning the league."
To be fair, yeah, I can't complain at how they always seem to pick up holes, so I can't complain in that regard. But I just find him quite irritating. The other guy's all right, but he's quite irritating.
Yeah, I feel like Ryan's a bit of I think it's a lot of it's clickbait, looking for bites and stuff as well.
Yeah,
get spoken about. All right, though. To be fair, I did have flop of the season player as Sinistera, and technically he's no longer at the in the championship, so it could count. But yeah, Oscar was due to join us, but he has let me know and said he can't make it. Unfortunately, he'll be back next week. Tom, I'm honestly much appreciated. Thanks for coming on.
That's fine.
It was good to get.
Obviously, you've asked me for a while, but obviously I've been busy like with the other podcast. But now we record on Sundays now for the Hull and Back, our podcast. Okay. So obviously I'm free on a Thursday, unless I'm not doing the Yorkshire one, because sometimes we record on a Thursday. But since it's international break, I have time. But obviously, if you ever need me to come on again, then give us a shout and I'll see if I can come on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'll put your socials in the description below. I did actually have a read of your piece about Chris Rigg. Actually, I had a read about that. So yeah, recommend that massively. As always, again, Tom, thanks for coming on, and everyone watching, thanks for watching. We'll be back next Thursday to predict. Is it? How long's the international break? Are we back next weekend?
Yeah, we are. So
we are back next week.
We're back. Hull City kick it off on Friday night.
Nice. Who you got?
We've got Coventry, so we have a chance to go top if we win.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, so we'll be back. Yeah, we'll see. See. Don't get too excited. But yeah, Leicester Fan TV back next Thursday for another championship chat. Looking forward to them games. And as always, click the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.